Hi business creators, it's Claire from Claire, and today we're talking about resistances. You know, all those actions you want to take to grow your business, but that just aren't happening. Now, there's a common perception that resistance is a bad thing, something to be avoided at all costs. But the truth is, resistance is an insight. It's a clue about what's going on just below your logical thoughts. So those feelings you might categorize as resistance, things like doubts, overwhelm, second guessing, procrastination, and even perfectionism are all your subconscious trying to keep you safe from some perceived threat. Now, the second truth is that ignoring these insights, just pushing through your resistance, isn't actually going to make life any easier because you are not learning the lessons that your subconscious is trying to share with you. You aren't addressing the fears or the hesitations or the beliefs that are actually driving your emotions and your behaviors, including resisting. So let's look practically at where some of those resistances might be coming from, what might be causing them, and what you can do to actually address them, to harness and utilize them. So the first major category where we get resistance, in my opinion, is from shoulds. Because in business we are sold so many different ways of becoming successful and so many versions of what success should be. You need to be on Instagram Reels. You should be doing Facebook Lives 3 times a week. If you aren't targeting a 6-figure business, you're setting your goals too low. We tend to overlook the fact that these are other people's things. That they are things that have worked for other business owners, or simply just things other business owners believe will work for them and potentially for you. They're other people's dreams, they are other people's motivations, especially when we start talking about money and business outcomes. And though we can be inspired by their dreams and the things that worked for them, we actually need to reflect that back through our lens. And one of the major lenses, one of the major perspectives that we can review these shoulds through is the one of enjoyment. Now, making something, whether that's a tactic, a goal, a strategy, whatever it is, part of our business means we're going to need to learn about it, and generally we're going to need to do that repeatedly on an ongoing basis. One Instagram reel is unlikely to get you onto the rich list. So if you hate making reels, then I'd suggest it shouldn't be part of your strategy or part of your tactics, because there are heaps of different ways to reach your audience. Reels isn't the only option. So you need to find one that you enjoy so that you're happy to learn about doing it well, and that you can enjoy the process of doing it so you can do it repeatedly. It's not just a once and done thing. So if you don't enjoy it, it's really not aligned, and it's really going to be something you struggle to do. The second place where we get lots of resistance comes through prejudgment. We want to know something is going to work before we put our time and energy into it. Now, logically, yes, we have limited time, limited energy, and limited money. So putting these into something with an unknown outcome does seem a little bit illogical. But what ends up happening is we hold ourselves back from creating that offer or creating that course, or even choosing who we want to work with, because it could be the quote unquote wrong decision. We could go down the wrong path. But the only way to know if it was the wrong thing is to actually try. We're pretty much always guessing, experimenting and trying things out in business, especially as what worked once isn't a guarantee that it will work again. Past performance is not a reliable indicator of a future performance, as pretty much the disclaimer on every financial investment and even business strategy advice goes. It's only by taking action that we figure out what works and what doesn't work. And it's what works and what doesn't work for us and for our business. Now, I know that seeing business as one huge experiment doesn't reassure your need to create stability and safety. But that approach allows us to release the need for a direct cause and effect, which is really important because one action is rarely the only input needed to create one output or one outcome. Like doing one Facebook Live is unlikely to make you a lot of money. Like, although you hear those stories, this Facebook Live made me 3,000, 30,000, whatever it is, it overlooks the fact that the person may have been following you on Facebook for a long time. They may have already built up how they trust you. They may already see you as an expert. It may overlook current affairs happening in the world. It may overlook the fact that this person's been on your email list for 2 years and now they've just become ready to work with you. So one action rarely creates directly one outcome. And then the third thing that I see playing into resistances, and the third thing I talk about when I talk about resistance, is believing it's actually possible. And this brings up heaps of thoughts around imposter. Yes, I believe it can work for other people, but I don't believe it can work for me. Who am I to deserve this to be easy? All of those thoughts, all of those imposter. But what I find when I talk to people about the actions they're resisting is that truly, deep down, sometimes, not always, just sometimes, they don't really believe that action that they are avoiding, the thing they are resisting, will actually generate the outcomes they desire. Like, I don't genuinely believe that posting consistently in Facebook groups is going to increase the number of clients I have. That is one of my Facebook personal favorites. Facebook groups to clients, I just don't see that happening. But what it's necessary to do then is for me to question if that's a wise strategy or if they're wise tactics for me to follow. If I don't believe that outcome is possible from the input, then I'm unlikely to acknowledge when it actually is working. I will tend to overlook evidence that disproves my belief. So if you can suspend your need to trace the cause and effect, it's very difficult for me, and you can suspend it long enough that you can lean into the experimentation approach, add in that dose of curiosity we always talk about, it can really help you to overcome some of those unhelpful beliefs. But the key here is you need to pair that, suspend the need to understand, with an objective review, one that takes into consideration the fact that it's not a single cause and effect. So using my Facebook groups example, I haven't sold a package directly from Facebook groups for a long time, but the majority of signups to my webinars, and therefore the majority of people on my email list, did come from Facebook groups. And in the long term, that does have the possibility for them to become clients. It's not just one thing, like you need to also look at the bigger picture. The truth about resistance then is that resistance is a tool. You can choose to ignore it and probably keep coming up against the same resistances time and time again, continually pretty much setting yourself up for your conscious and subconscious to be in a battle. Logic versus emotion, desires versus perceived safety. Or alternatively, you can choose to use your resistances to create a self-awareness that will allow you to improve your productivity, because those things won't be resisted, and therefore to improve your business. Now, if this video has been useful, I would love you to give me a thumbs up and let me know in the comments your favorite resistance and what clues it might be offering. You can subscribe for more content like this on productivity, money and mindset for solopreneurs. And I will say, if you need help in harnessing the insights of your resistances, then reach out for a free discovery and unblocking session where over about 30 minutes on Zoom, we identify one of the reasons behind your resistance and we make a plan for what you really need to do to get that outcome happening.